Hey there guys, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today, we'll be reacting to SCP-2014. Cause why not? And honestly, I felt like doing an reacting to an SCP video, to be honest. Anyway, let's press play and see what's gonna happen, shall we?
For the first time in his life, Peter performed a magic ritual. He did so more as a joke.
Oh
The guy still
dear.
hoped that the being
A
he was
kid-
summoning would help him.
A kid and magic. Maybe not the best idea.
Win the skateboarding competition. Only, in order for this supernatural being to come into this world, it's necessary to prepare someone else's body. Peter thought about his older brother Ryan, but then decided that giving the body of a close relative for the demon was not exactly the right choice. And so he chose his pet, a little pocket gecko named Chris. Peter thought it would be very convenient to have a powerful supernatural force in his very pocket. The guy did everything according to the instructions. He put Chris in the center of the table and surrounded him with various occult artifacts. Then
A frog as well.
the spells.
Wouldn't the frog
Peter
eat
hoped that everything
the
would be
gecko
just
though?
like they are in the movies. The cabinets would start shaking, and
If
multicolored
the,
whirlwinds would fly over and
frog is
around
big
the
enough
table,
anyway.
accompanied by flashes of lightning and the sort. But nothing happened. Nothing at all. The gecko continued to stand motionless in place. The young mystic was rather disappointed and was about to get up and leave, when suddenly a human voice rang out from the gecko's mouth. The domestic lizard shouted curses and expressed a dislike for its new body. But most of all, the gecko was unhappy with the absence of a victim. The reptile said that a human sacrifice would be the better option, but as a last resort, the entity would not refuse cattle. After that, the supernatural...
I can't stress enough how annoying the YouTube ads are getting. Especially after they removed the dislike button. Anyway.
entity would leave the body of the lizard. But as soon as the guy started talking about skateboarding, the gecko, without hesitation, immediately agreed to help Peter, even without sacrifice. The skateboarder quickly put the lizard in his pocket and headed off to the competition. The entity inside the lizard was capable of telekinesis, so all the tricks were to be done without any actual involvement on Peter's side.
The kid's
But
gonna
it was
die,
the
isn't
gecko
he?
overdid it. It did not fully understand that in the earthly realm, human beings have certain physical limits, and the tricks that he performed were undoubtedly impossible to our dimension. Peter displayed fantastic movements. He succeeded in doing 10 flips with the skateboard in the air, after which he still stuck to landing. He managed to gain an impressive 65 feet of airtime and still achieve the softest of landings. It seemed as though Peter was not subject to gravity at all. Rumors of this wondrous skater began to circulate before the competition had even ended. And
He's gonna
the
die.
Foundation responds rather quickly to such information. Mobile task forces were immediately dispatched to the scene. This all happened on February 21st, 1998 in Los Angeles. All the witnesses...
Good thing I haven't been born at
were
that
given
time yet.
access, and the gecko...
Like literally. I wasn't even born yet at that point. I was actually born 1 year later, but then again,
was contained.
too much information,
It
I
now
know.
lives in a terrarium located at Site 27. The lizard belongs to the species Eublepharis macularius. The gecko's length is no more than about 3.5 inches. The gecko is able to control any object within a radius of approximately 80 feet through telekinesis without even needing to see the subject. The creature living inside the lizard calls itself Zarmagoth. He claims to have arrived here from another parallel reality. He and others like him are associated with earthly cult religious organizations. Many murders and thefts were committed to glorify Zarmagoth. The person who summons the entity is obliged to make a sacrifice in exchange for his request, and provide a comfortable body for it too, of course. Peter did none of this, but because of his great love for skateboarding, Zarmagoth agreed to help the guy free of charge. Previously, Zarmagoth abhorred humanity. He considered people to be nothing but a mere pile of rubbish capable of nothing. The object wanted to destroy all of humanity as soon as the opportunity presented itself. But when the creature found out that humans had invented skateboarding, it completely changed its mind. According to Magoth, skateboarding is the most amazing invention in all existing universes. Therefore, the best way to influence the anomalous creature is to provide him with a skateboard. He's given one by the staff as a reward for good behavior. Although, in my opinion, the world from which Zarmagoth
Okay, that's
came is
hilarious.
much cooler. At least least, such a conclusion can be drawn from what he stated about it. Giant crystalline snakes of literal planetary size reside there, feeding on stars and swallowing them whole in one sitting. The thunder clouds in the universe behave unpredictably and seem as though they have their very own consciousnesses. They cast lightning down whenever and wherever they so desire. A similar situation also exists with the rains there. If the clouds do not like you, they'll chase you all the way to your house. The flora that exists on the planet's surface is of a mechanical nature. However, despite the obvious man-made appearance, they grow from the earth on their own like any other plant. The ocean in Magoth's world hide coral reefs actually made of diamonds within their waters. Carnivorous eggs fly all over, devouring everything in their path, and in between these instances, they hum songs from the Spice Girls. To return to this world, all...
Okay, that's just hilarious. Terrifying, but hilarious.
Zarmagoth needs to do is just kill his current body, then his consciousness will return home. However, the entity is in no hurry to part with his reptilian appearance, even though that it's not comfortable. The fact is that at home his wife and child are waiting for him. Well, not him per se, but the sacrifice that Zarmagoth must bring back. The gecko doesn't really like to talk about it, and constantly steers the conversation to the topic of skateboarding or something humorous. Also of greatest interest is how Zarmagoth looks in his world. For this, I propose turning to the field of linguistics. I assume that Zar looks very similar to the word Tsar for you. This does not give any clue regarding the object's appearance, but it does indicate the gecko's royal status. Perhaps in the other worlds, people experience certain problems with grammar, so over there this word is spelt differently. Or perhaps the lizard simply crowned itself. Now, let's move on from linguistics to demonology. Information concerning one particular demon with a similar name, Magoth, can be found quite easily. This creature resembles a giant cat with squid tentacles in front. It's difficult to imagine how such a being could ride a skateboard in this form. According to some myths, Magoth is one of the 8 servants of the 4 spirits of hell: Satan, Lucifer, Leviathan, and Belial. Well, if Spice Girls are still popular in the world from which Zarmagoth came, then this truly is hell. Actually, never mind. He was last back there in 1998.
I agree.
Some occultists believe that the word Magoth comes either from the French word miger, which was used in reference to evil gnomes, or from the word magus, which means magician. Such a creature can interfere in affairs by means of strange magic or change someone's appearance. Also, this creature has the ability to provide a person with an unlimited number of books and food for a plentiful feast. According to another version, which to me seems closer to the truth, Magoth is an incorrect transcription of the word Magog. This name belongs to the biblical demon, information about which can be found in the grimoire medieval books, where all the rituals of summoning demons are described clearly. Peter most likely used one of these books. In the Sworn Book of Honorius, for example, it's stated that Magog, aka Magoth, is capable of evoking positive emotions, as well as increasing the status of a person in the eyes of others. And what, if not the status of a cool skateboarder, did Peter want in the first place? However, if this is so, then after fulfilling Peter's desire, the creature, according to the Book of Honorius, should receive a body with colors of a celestial hue. Only, nothing of the sort happened. Although such a deviation from the precepts laid out can be explained by the fact that all the witnesses were treated with amnestics, and no one remembers Peter's coolness, not even himself. I think my theory can be tested if you were to acquire the Sworn Book of Honorius and perform the ritual of summoning Magoth. Only I cannot do this. I'm a humanist, and I'd regret killing animals for such purposes. And claiming that I want to win a skateboarding competition will not fool Magoth a second time. Besides, it's not necessarily fact that this would even work at all while Magoth is still on Earth in the body of a lizard. It's quite possible that in order to meet a new challenge, he first needs to return to his own dimension. But even then, his wife's unlikely to let him go after entire decades of being absent. Speaking of Magoth's family, during interrogation, he called his son a slime spawn. Whether he was simply referring to how he viewed his own child, or whether his offspring is actually a slug is still unknown. But given the variety of forms in his world, literally anything is possible. And since they're expecting a victim, it can be assumed that this is their main source of food. Since the distant world is filled with spooky demons, and the plants are mostly mechanical, the food situation is rather difficult there. But is really such a cynical demon that he's prepared to leave his family to starve? Perhaps they themselves know how to find food. They're most likely demons as well, and they're also summoned by earthly occultists through sacrifice. In that case, the family probably had the opportunity already to get into this world after Magoth was contained. So in this case, did his relatives know about the whereabouts of the family's breadwinner? Could they even attempt to free him? Even if
Maybe.
the child and wife had such information, their movements are most likely limited by the contract with the one who summons the demons, as well as the body in which their consciousness exists. Relatives of Magath must complete their task, and then return back to the parallel world with their victim. Perhaps the Wanderer's Library, which is a kind of hub station between worlds, has information regarding this matter.
Maybe.
It only remains to find a way to get there. So, what do you think is really behind the entity that has taken up residence inside the gecko? Share your opinion with us in the comments below.
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I'll be making. So yeah, bye.